there was one point during the weekend where it was just kind of like, I think it was like after a message, it was just like worship, like quiet time. And they were just kind of going around laying hands on people. And all of a sudden I felt like my stomach get really hot. And I just felt like God's presence in me. And I always explain that as like my aha moment, where it was like, God's not just up there and I'm down here, but like he's in me.
Hello and welcome back to the Gen Free Podcast. Can I get a little round of applause? This is a student-led podcast focused on discovering God's freedom in our everyday lives. Wow, how did I mess that up? I'm your host, Ayana Cruz, and then we have our co-host.
I'm Sawyer Robertson. I'm the co-host of the Gen Free Podcast. This is me. I'm still here. Don't worry about it because I will still be here.
Yay! And then we have Grace.
Hello.
Back at it again. Welcome back, Grace.
Hello.
Hi, Grace. Hey, Grace. How you doing, Grace? How about you tell us how you doing real quick?
I'm pretty good. I just got back from Italy for a vacation.
Wow.
And I'm very jet lagged. I was awake for over 24 hours.
Sweet.
Was it nice? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Me and Chris did that
walking.
voluntarily.
Go to Italy?
No, stayed up for 24 hours.
Oh.
Not go to Italy. When did we go to Italy?
I don't know. I was really confused. Okay, anyways.
I just got out of high school.
We have a very special guest here with us today. She has never been on before.
But
you
her
might
father
remember, you might remember her father from the second episode, right? It was the third episode of this podcast. We have Espe Trevino. Yay!
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited.
How about you share a little bit
so
about
fun.
yourself real quick?
A little bit about myself. Well, I actually did an internship with Faith Like Birds back in the day, right after high school. And then I went to YWAM, and then I came back, and now I work for a state representative, Joe
Nice.
Diorsi, who also attends Praise Community Church.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Very successful young woman right here. Very
Just one step at a time,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
One step at a time.
Well, I'm so glad we
Awesome.
could have you on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm really excited.
I
'cause
feel like
I love you, Espe.
I love you.
Espe.
You guys are awesome.
So we brought you in today to talk about a very common thing in our world right now. Anxiety.
Mhm.
Yay!
For sure.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
A round of applause.
Round of applause for being anxious, I guess. So let's just dive right in.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
No smooth transition today. It's diving right in.
The entire pool is the deep end.
Exactly.
Love that because I'm 5'2". But
Dear.
Oh, you're short. Oh, well, you're taller than me.
Hey,
So
how tall are you? That's what I was gonna.
5'1".
Man, you guys suck. I'm kidding.
How tall are you?
Too.
I am 5'10", 5'11" on a good day.
You know what
what's it like up there?
Yeah,
it's a
for
different
real?
climate.
On a good day. But I keep seeing memes.
And here
it's
I'm
like-
average.
And they make fun of people that are 5'2". But what happens when make fun of people that are 5'2" for being short? I'm like, what happens when you're 5'1" and below? Like you see those videos, they'll be like, oh, like my 5'2" girlfriend or my 5'2" best friend. This is how you see the world. And I'm like, it's always 5'2". What about 5'1"?
Include me, please.
Include me in the short conversation.
Oh, dear.
What's it like being 5'2", having that extra?
Well, I always said that I was okay with it. Like when my doctor told me that I wasn't really growing anymore, I said, you know what? That's exciting because I'll never grow out of ponies. Like when you're short, you can ride
Yeah.
you can ride horses still. But after you get to a certain height, you can't ride the ponies anymore. But the ponies are fun because they're kind of bad. So I really, and they're just more my size, So I was kind of okay with it.
I thought you were going to say grow out of clothes. I was completely thrown for a loop there.
Oh yeah, because you ride horses.
Yeah.
You're a horse girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't ridden much of late, but I definitely grew up riding horses. But yeah, that's another little thing.
There we go. Now we know more.
There we go.
I actually didn't know you had
I've
a
never done it
horse.
before.
Right? You never ridden a horse.
Super
ever.
fun.
Have you ever thought about it?
You can come over and ride a horse if you want. He's only got one eye,
yes.
but he's totally
He's got
fine.
one eye?
Yeah, but he's totally fine to ride.
The Nick
Anyway,
Fury
I'm sorry,
horse.
I'm getting us really off track.
No, it's fine. It's the Nick Fury horse.
Get him a little iPad.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Slick back his hair.
It doesn't affect him at all. He's
It's fine.
Yeah, he's completely fine.
He's just like,
Nice.
Yep.
one eye gone. It's
Yep.
okay. One eye to go.
Don't say it that way.
Okay, let me not make you anxious, but actually, could you just
You better
share-
watch out for your horse.
Actually, we can roll this in. Because, so do you want me to just kind of share with my story?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so we can totally roll this in because when I started experiencing anxiety, I was in like 8th grade.
Mhm.
And I remember specifically having an anxiety attack on my way to a horse show. So there we go.
Okay.
But anyway,
Boom.
Okay,
Segue.
Full circle.
Segue.
There's so many other sounds we could use on the board.
What, like this one?
Yeah.
What is that one?
So wham, 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 wham.
Yeah. Horse, no I.
Nick Fury horse.
Exactly.
oh no.
Anyways.
But anyway, yeah, it's so I started experiencing anxiety when I was in 8th grade, and I was playing volleyball at the time too, and it just really stole from me. I I had to leave like that horse show. I never actually went to that horse show because we had to turn around because I just like had an anxiety attack. I just felt like I was dying with no explanation. It wasn't like anything specific. It was just the thoughts in my mind were like, you're dying and you can't breathe. And so that, would happen. And then, I had to leave school early one day, and I would just experience it a lot when I was in school. And then I would go to the nurse's office and be like, something's wrong. And then they'd just have you sit down and they'd check everything and they'd be like, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
And they asked me if I like told my parents because they're like, you keep coming in here every day. But when I would go home, like I wouldn't really experience it so I didn't really know what it was. I think that was one of your questions that you had asked me before coming on, but I didn't really know what it was until there was one day at school that I had to leave school early because of anxiety, but I didn't know, I didn't have the words for it yet.
How old were you at this time?
I was like 14. Yeah. Maybe 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there. And so I had to, so anyway, I went home and like I was fine at home for like a while. And then my mom and I went to go like get pizza for the family. And like on the way there, I started to get anxiety again. And then we like were in the parking lot just going to get pizza. And I had like a major anxiety attack. And my mom at that point was like, what do you want me to do? Take you to the hospital? And because she was trying to like encourage me along the way and just speak truth, but I just didn't know what I was feeling. And so I was like, sure, I guess. And so then we went I didn't say it like that. I was probably like, sure, I guess. And then,
oh my gosh.
You're like bawling your eyes out. Do you want to go to the hospital? Sure. Yes.
She just like wipes her
go.
tears. She's like, oh my gosh, that sounds so perfect. Let me get my bag.
Hospital food.
Fuzzy socks. Grippy socks.
Dude, the gowns? Yes. I'm so excited to wear a gown.
Yo, I feel like they always expose someone's butt. You ever like I've walked in those hallways. Anyways, continue.
So anyway, we ended up going to the hospital because I had no words for it, and I just needed to know at that point that nothing was wrong with me because I had so convinced myself in my mind that I was dying. And so we went to the hospital, and it took a while. I remember my cousin being there. Shout out to him, love him. And my dad was there.
What a guy.
What a guy. And I remember asking him in the lobby because I was just so inside my mind. I couldn't think straight. And I was like, Dad, just tell me the gospel. Like, what's the gospel? Just like from the beginning, And so I got checked out and everything. And then they came back and they were like, so you had an anxiety attack. It wasn't a full-blown panic attack. And I was like, what is that? Because that was horrible. What would that be,
Yeah.
So anyway, they said it's really common in kids your age and it's really common in girls and girls your age. And they said if it keeps happening, you can come back and get on anxiety medication. So long story short, I shortly after that, I went to a church camp at Camp Hebron. And that was my first like youth camp, like by myself, like away from my parents. And so I went and I encountered the Lord there like I had never experienced before. Like I didn't have words for it. And I wouldn't have been able to tell you in that moment, like, oh, my anxiety's gone. But like ever since then, like I know I was delivered from something there.
Oh, wow.
So I remember going to the camp and just feeling like, and Brian was actually my youth pastor at the time at church. So I remember going there and just being like, I remember going there and like just feeling so like spiritually chained up. Like I couldn't worship. And I just kept thinking like, go like have someone pray for you. And I just kept feeling so chained up that it was almost physical. Like it was like I could almost physically feel or see like chains because it just was so spiritual. And there was one point during the weekend where it was just kind of like, I think it was like after a message, it was just like worship, like quiet time. And they were just kind of going around laying hands on people. And all of a sudden I felt like my stomach get really hot and I just felt like God's presence in me. And I always explain that as like my aha moment where it was like, God's not just up there and I'm down here, but like he's in me and he knows me. And that kind of reminds me of John 10 that we can talk about then. But anyway, it just...
I'll write it down so we remember.
Yeah. And so I just remember experiencing his presence like I had never known before. And I had no words for it. I just laid there in like his presence for so long. And then even after like I like didn't necessarily like feel it anymore, I still just laid there because I didn't know how to like get up out of it. I just like laid there. And yeah. And then after that, they were like, okay, everybody has something to share, like line up and like come up to the front. You have something to share. And so like people were kind of like dropping off like flies. And I was like, oh my, well, they told me I have to do this. So I have to do it. Cause like, so anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Like as soon as I got up there and like took the microphone to share whatever it is that we were supposed to share, I just started crying. And I was like, I came here feeling so physically, like I came here feeling so chained up and I don't see the chains anymore. I don't feel the chains anymore. And yeah. And then ever since then, it's like, I think one of the questions was like, do you still struggle with it? If it tries to, I know I was delivered and healed from something because I didn't even have words for it, right? I never had to go back to the doctors for medication or anything. Like I'm often just like so thankful to God for that like, it was like he took it away before I even knew it was a problem. And like, if it tries to come back, I totally recognize it. And that again is in John 10, like recognizing the voices. Like I totally recognize that that's not of me. Like that's, I totally recognize it as a different voice. And like, I know God delivered me of that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And a lot of times I feel like we get attacked in the areas that we're called to. And so sometimes that's even a sign too, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. What do you feel necessarily you're called to in that aspect then? Because when you said sometimes we're called into the things that we're attacked with.
Well, like I guess in a way that I can put it into words, like when I was all that it stole from me from like just being a part of a community like volleyball and horseback riding, I feel like it stole from that. So it was keeping me from like getting to know my peers. And if that makes sense, like even just like in a community and like being relational with people, right? Because anxiety, like it makes you want to like just like pull away and like not be there, you know? And like the Lord has something so special for you and powerful to do in and through you that the enemy doesn't want that to be released either.
And at what age did that deliverance come from?
Around the same age. It was like, after the hospital, it was like months, a couple months that I ended up going on that trip.
Got it.
And so that was totally the Lord's grace. I feel like in my life, like just like cutting it off before I ever even like knew what it was. And it's like one of my favorite things to pray for now because I love just praying that like God do it again. Like whatever you did in me, double it in their life, whatever you did. And so, I can feel like with people because I know what that feels like. Like it's a horrible feeling, like to put words to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speak to that. I mean, like my anxiety, I had been I believe I was delivered from anxiety and depression in the same encounter, but like I still have been on my anxiety medication for the past couple of years, and I've been like recently like I decided to start getting off it with my doctor, and so I've been starting to cut it in half, and I feel like the enemy has been starting to like come against me more, and so like I was at a lake house with some friends, and it was towards the end of the night, and I was the last one in the water, and I I could feel it just like coming against me, and I just started to like panic, but I was like I was able to identify what it was, and I just started praying. I wasn't like I was just standing in the water looking out, and then and just praying. It didn't even feel like anyone else was there, even though they were all behind me. But yeah, and identifying it and speaking against it and declaring that you are free from it is incredibly important, and it's such an important step to take to fight back against it, to declare life over it and know that you do have power over it with God, and I feel like that's such an important thing that people haven't been doing. And so
that's so powerful. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That's such a testimony of like just walking with God, right? And just getting to know his voice. Yeah.
I do have a question to kind of build off what you said, because, and it's honestly open to anyone to answer too, because I want to hear all your opinions on this. But you were saying how you have that knowledge and that you are already healed. You're walking out and you're healing. That's why you're taking like this step and going through this process, because you know, and you have the faith that you have been healed. Yeah, and I don't want to still rely on it. I want to rely on God. I don't believe that I need the medication anymore, and that I am set free from it. So I want to get off it. So I am fully away from it. Amazing, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
But would you say that having a basis of what healing is, and that knowing you can be healed in this, or even having, for your instance, parents that spoke life into you during this season, helped you in not only growing your faith, but having victory and freedom from anxiety, in comparison to, like, let's say, it's harder for kids who have maybe believe themselves, have non-believing parents, no one to speak truth into them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after that encounter, I got so like involved in youth group, and like it was identity message after identity message after identity message, and it was constantly going after like the presence of God. And I think that built so much into it. And like, yeah, everything that like my parents too like instilled in me, but it was also that encounter like that became my own, right? Like eventually like it was like that where it had to become my own faith. But yeah, I would say definitely like that we get like fed, right? Because you can have that like one encounter and like you feel peace, and then you're like right back into the same community that's almost like claiming that identity over you for you of like anxiety and like, you know what I mean? And so like, yeah, having that community and growing closer to God to know his voice and his heart is huge. Yeah. And I mean, like, before I like got to praise, I was dealing with anxiety for years, and it was something that I like put myself under, and like it became a part of my identity. Like I had anxiety and depression, then I just fell under that, and it just became a part of me, rather than something that I'm carrying. And it's one of the reasons why I ended up here, because of my struggle and like being in such a dark place from it. I needed to get out of it, or I don't think I would still be here. I have a question, like for you, like for me, it was like the Lord set me free of it, and I didn't even know I could be set free of it. Like at that point, was there a moment that like you realized, or that you realized that that you could be set free from it, and then you like went after that, or was it just kind of like you saw God, encountered God, and then it was like, oh wow, I didn't know I could be set free, but now I'm set free.
I can talk about this too, but I don't know if you want to speak.
Yeah,
first,
it just kind of happened.
I want to hear all your responses.
Like in the pursuit of God. It
was at the
there's probably a lot that we don't realize.
It was at the
like,
second Shout conference, my first one, where I like sought after God and then got set free from it, but I like wasn't specifically chasing after like being set free from anxiety or depression. I didn't know I could. So it just kind of happened.
How about you, Grace?
Yeah, for me, I like from a young age, I really suffered from anxiety. I mean, I had depression and eating disorder and anxiety from all of that. And I think it really was growing in Christ and realizing my identity in Christ. And I found healing through that. But last summer we had the discipleship class with Brian.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
yeah. And I remember Jake Hale was speaking, and he was speaking out about various things, and he got to a spirit of fear. And I think if he wasn't speaking these things out, I wouldn't say I had a spirit of fear. I knew I had anxiety, but I didn't think like fear, how associated that was. But once he started to speak that out, I started manifesting that in me of what that was. And then after he was done, I just went up to ask for prayer. And I was hearing such like thoughts from the enemy trying to get me not to go up. Like nothing's going to happen. God's not going to move if you go up. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't care. I just need to get this out of me at that point. Yeah. But I felt all hot and I was sweaty and I was just like, I do not feel good. So I need to get this out. And then I was delivered from a spirit of fear. And with that, I just felt such peace and like never before. And with that, like all the anxiety was gone. And I wanted to tell everyone about it. And just because I was so happy and just so thankful for what he was doing in me. And I just never had felt that kind of peace before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that even happened last year.
That was the week I was not there. I was at the beach.
Oh, you weren't there.
So I thought you were there. Testimonies. Awesome.
No, I wasn't there that week. I missed Jake Hale. I was there the other weeks.
I love Jake Hale.
You were there the other weeks. Okay, that's why.
I missed that one.
Because I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw you last year.
Yeah, I was there, but that week I was at the beach.
The beach.
Dude, I'm so ready for the beach. I leave on Friday. I'm so ready.
How long are you going for?
The entire week.
Wow, nice.
I'm so ready. Dude, we go every year. We go to Myrtle, and it's something that we.
Oh, Myrtle is so nice.
We do it as like our whole family as a tradition, and like they've done it since my mom was a kid. So we
fun.
Like,
it's sweet that they carry that on.
It's so much fun. Yeah. And like even like the other side of the family started coming. So I well, my mom's side is the majority of it, but then some of my dad's side has started coming as well, and I get to see one of my best friends from California.
Wow, you have a best friend all the way out there.
I love him. He's so awesome.
So
and we all, me, him, Rusty, and Papa Fred, my dad, Rusty's dad. We all go golfing together.
What's Rusty's dad's name?
Fred.
Papa Fred.
Yeah, it's Papa Fred, and then my dad's middle name is Russell Fred, and like his mom.
What's your middle name?
Wanted me to also be Fred, but my mom was like, "No, my son is not going to be Fred."
Oh my god.
Trina said, "No." So what is your middle name?
Alan. My mom's dad's name.
Sawyer Allen. I hear it. Yeah. I hear it with the southern.
Alan Branham is my other grandpa's name, and I'm named after him.
I like that. Is that his middle name or last name? Branham.
Branham is his last name.
I kind of like it. Branham. That's strong.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool. Back on subject. We get so off, but tell Rusty and Trina I said hi.
I will.
Yeah, have fun at the beach. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so ready.
I want to talk about something you said.
Okay.
You were saying when you were being set free from that spirit of fear, you kept getting racing thoughts coming against you.
Yeah.
And this is kind of related, kind of not, but I think of it the same as when people proclaim anxiety over themselves.
Yeah.
And my question is, I hear it so often. I see it on the internet. Like people are like, LOL, I'm just so anxious. Like you see it like in a humorous way in which people cope on lovely realms of social media. Yeah. Do you think that's, and this is everybody, do you think that we should stop doing that, stop normalizing anxiety in such a way? Because if our words have, and which they do, you believe in Christ, have so much power by proclaiming it over, it's counteractive to the healing that we need to walk in.
Yeah, I mean, if you say it so many times over yourself, you're just going to let that sink in as your identity.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I told people like, yeah, forgive me, I'm a little bit socially awkward, like, or I have anxiety, I can't do that. And then, I don't know, you just have it in your head that that's just who you are. And that's
and that's the place that I was in. And I feel like we need to stop normalizing it, because then more people are going to fall into it. And I feel like that's the reason it's gone up so drastically is because we continue to like identify with it, and then it gets passed down to others, and it's
something interesting about that, because you were talking about it being passed down. Right after I was delivered, I found out that my grandmother had similar experiences with anxiety. And like for me, I was so anxious with time. I always needed to be like early for things. I always had to be so efficient with my time, and I wouldn't waste any of my time. And I realized that my grandmother was doing the same thing, and she would get to places like 30 minutes early and just sit in the parking lot. And I was doing the same exact thing.
Oh, wow.
Like I just never wanted to be late, and it's just, but I never knew that about her. So I just thought it was very interesting. And I think there's things that you shouldn't speak these things over yourself, but you should talk to people about what's going on for help.
Yeah.
I mean, generational curses and traumas are so real. There's actually like scientific studies on this, or even just theories. So like the one, I scrolled through everything, I researched everything. The one is that was done on people that are direct descendants from slaves, still carry the trauma, like they still have certain triggers that maybe don't affect their lives, but apparently due to the traumas of like just generationally their grandfathers or great-great-grandparents, they still carry the sense of anxiety, the sense of fear going certain places and others. And it's interesting how in your case, it can be passed down because there was kind of like evidence of it going through your family. It's just kind of fascinating how that works, and how we only think of it in the scientific or logical, whatever logical means, explanation. When God has the answers right here.
And like my anxiety manifested in a different way. Mine was very like, it formed in procrastination, like almost like a state of like paralysis where I wouldn't like be able to do anything, and it stopped me from like doing my schoolwork well, and I just struggled so hard sophomore year, and it was like I wasn't able to accomplish like my work like I once was able to, and it was almost like I was just paralyzed sitting there, and I would just shake, and then I would like form like condemnation in myself, because like I felt like I felt my parents weren't like happy with me, and like not being able to keep up like I was being able to, and just being like that became a source of condemnation in myself, and it began to change how I saw myself, and my self-image began to turn and shift, and I no longer liked myself really, and so all from like just anxiety, it shifted and became much more than that, and I feel like it's so important to stop it before that happens.
Yeah. Do you ever, just going off of that, like I feel like a common like it is common, right, to identify with it, but I feel like even too when like you're encouraging someone, it's almost like it's very rare. You don't really hear like, hey, you can be free from this. It doesn't always it doesn't always have to be like that, you know, because like I just love giving people like that hope. Like it doesn't always have to be like that, you know, and just that there is hope, like with what I experienced, like just going from like knowing what it was like to live with that, and then just like, and then not, you know, and like if it does try to come back, I mean, even like this week, it was like, I feel like the enemy knew I was coming here to speak on this, even this week. And so I really was just like praying about that too. Like that there's like one thing that someone listening or watching would take away and just like experience freedom through. But I just wanted to kind of hop in here to John 10:10, because this is like, this is what I feel like the verse I always come back to, is that the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, and I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. And that was how I knew, like a lot of times too, that it wasn't his voice, right? Because if it was killing, stealing, or destroying anything, any joy, community, like growth, like relationship with God, then that wasn't his voice. And if it was life, like just life, like if it had anything to do with life, that's what I was supposed to fix my mind on. And it's hard. It can be hard, but that verse I think I often come back to is just that he has life and life abundantly for us.
Yeah.
And I think anxiety attacks your nearness with God and your identity. Like you're alone. No one can help you. No one understands. You know, you're like, this is it. This is the end. And your identity. But yeah, I think that's a major thing too, is if it's trying to like bridge a gap between your nearness with God.
What do you mean by like attacking your identity? If you can further elaborate.
Yeah, I think, I mean, kind of like what you guys spoke into of just even the generational thing, but I think those lies can turn into like the identity thing, right? Because if you keep saying you're alone or you're anxious, like that's like what you hold on to as identity.
Yeah, who you become.
Yeah, like you're not wanted, like because you're alone. You know what I mean? You're not seen, so they kind of like fold into each other. I feel like
that makes sense. Anxiety sucks. It just sucks in summary. And I'm so glad that there is hope. And I don't think often people, like you said, people don't hear it enough.
Yeah, because it's very common to be like, that's how it's always going to be. And like we're all just in it together.
I think people are just saying
you're not alone.
To be wrong.
Yeah, you're not alone. And yeah, just to go off that, I did write some things down just to like encourage you. Said like any like encouragement or advice, but like like the biggest thing is like you are not your anxiety, and you're not less than because of your anxiety, and God doesn't love you less because of your anxiety. Like again, I feel like anxiety attacks that nearness with God. Like, well, if I'm worrying, I'm not doing something right, you know. So I'm not like I can't be like close to God right now. Yeah, but that's not true. Like in fact, I feel like that means you have a huge call. Like there is something really like special and important for you to do with God and experience with God that the enemy's trying to stop as well.
Yeah, and I felt like one thing that like was on my heart this week when I was like up in the middle of the night, and actually I got sunburnt, and then it's awful. It's basically everywhere but my face. So it works for a podcast.
Is that why you're wearing
it works for a podcast. I am wearing long sleeves.
Is it because of
Look
the
at my
sunburn?
shoulder. It's insane.
Oh, were you wearing a hat?
Yes, I was.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I got sunburnt. And then it's hard to sleep because I'm laying on everything and it burns. So I woke up in the middle of the night and then went, showered and listened to worship music. I was in there for a good half hour, and I felt like God gave me something. And it's to, like what you just said. It's like it's the sign of like that you have a calling on your life when you are being attacked in certain places. Like it's like a safe. Something wouldn't be being protected if there was nothing inside of it. Like nobody would. Yeah. Nobody would.
If there's no value.
Nobody would break into a safe if there's nothing in there. And like the enemy wouldn't be attacking you from like a door that you're going to go through unless there was something to it. Unless there was something behind it.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, that's kind of even what I felt this week. It's like, okay, like what's going on here? You know? Yeah, that's so good.
To think you got that from taking a shower and being sunburned.
Yeah, man, sunburn. Yeah, yeah. Praise God. Yeah.
So what do you?
Pray for healing.
I need aloe.
What are some things that like?
I'll put it on at home. Chris can rub it on me.
Yeah, I had no idea you had sunburn.
He's cheering. Maybe that's a yes. Well, y'all have fun with that. Interesting. Anyways, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, what are some things that you do or like go through in your mind to kind of like, okay, like I think I'm going in the right direction, and like I'm experiencing some like attacks from the enemy. So like I feel like that's confirmation that I'm going in the right direction. Then what do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
what are some things that you guys?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm dealing with that now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Music is really in a place to like feel God, and that's like what I would like. What I was doing in the shower, I had worship music on. And like when I draw, I have music on, and that's when I do like prophetic art, and like he shows me things.
So you talk to God.
Yeah, with music, and that's how I do things.
That's so good.
Yeah, and I do that especially when the enemy is coming against me. That's where I go to, and I go back to that place.
That's so powerful.
God. So.
Yeah. I think for me, I also listen to music, and I just know if I'm frustrated or anything, I'll just listen to worship music, and it really just centers me. But then what I'll do on some other instances, like I've done this when I worked at Starbucks too, I would just ask him for peace.
Yeah.
And I had like a really cool encounter with that. And I've talked about this on another episode too, where it just was so chaotic at work, and I just asked him for peace. And in such a busy, chaotic environment, he just gave me dead silence for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And so I think you forget that you can just ask him.
Yeah.
Like he's the Prince of Peace. You can just ask him, and he wants to give that to you.
Yeah.
So, and I think we just really forget to do that. And definitely talking with him and asking him for things has really helped me in the past.
Yeah, you don't have because you don't ask.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like you can do one, like not just two things, but you feel like you can do one or two things of like pull back. Oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Or just press in.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like I even did that this week. Like I had a day where I was feeling off, and I was like, what is this? And like that day I just was like, and I'm not saying this to like pump myself up, but just like as an attack against the enemy, I was like, I sent like a voice memo to a friend in the morning, just like encouraging them.
Yeah.
And then like later I had the opportunity to like pray for healing for someone. And so it was just like cool, because it was like, okay, even though I feel like super off and I feel like I don't know what's going on and like, is something off or wrong? I was like, I'm going to use this as even more of a reason to like encourage me and give me the courage to like step out and do these things. Because it was just like, no, the enemy's not going to get that. In fact, I'm going to like pray harder and like, I'm going to like talk to God more, like just kind of like what you were saying. So just like use that as an opportunity to be like, wow, God really must want to like say something. And like, and I feel like this week, even like in John 10, when it talks about like, you'll know my voice and you'll run from the stranger's voice. Like that just became like more real. It's like, okay, there's like a lot of like the stranger's voice, but there was like that one voice that like I heard that I was like, I know that piece that sits on that. And so that's what like I turned to, even though it was like not feeling good, just to like, keep going, because I knew like, I know like where the victory stands.
That is so great. That's a great way to like combat temptation.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even what you were saying, like knowing where the victory stands, like while you were talking, I was thinking about like, man, could you imagine being the enemy?
Being?
Yeah, like being the enemy. That would suck. Because like, man, right now what he's doing, he is kicking and screaming. He is already lost. He is already lost, and he is just wailing all over the place, screwing stuff up.
It's kind of like, what's the point then?
Yeah, he's already lost. What's the point?
He's just trying to take as many people with him.
He's just wailing.
But
just on the floor.
I never thought of it that way, because like enemy, what's the point then? Like you know you.
Yeah, imagine being that guy. That guy sucks.
Yes, so
awful.
like it's
that guy sucks. That guy sucks.
That's such an L, bro.
Screw that guy. That guy sucks.
That's so good. Like,
Take the L.
that's the gospel, right?
L.
It is.
That's the gospel. Like through Jesus, you can come close to God. He's restored that relationship, and that's exactly what the enemy wants to get you to not think of, is your nearness to God. How close you are to God. Like that's crazy. He says like, go into your room, shut the door, and talk to God. Talk to God. That's crazy. Yeah. And like that's, I feel like what he tries to attack, and one of the ways can be through anxiety, but just like that you're not close to him, you can't hear him.
Ooh, I thought
he's kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I thought another thing that that I do to slow down. I look at the small things. And I look at like the details around me, and I'm like, man, that's a wall.
It's so good.
How is this here?
Yeah, thankfulness is huge.
It is.
Man, it's a wall.
Yeah, and I've even just learned over the years that when you appreciate the beauty of things and you're just in awe of that, all of that kind of just goes away, because you're just so thankful and just recognize the beauty in things.
Yeah,
so
and like
you're not worrying about
Yeah, and I saw something this week, and it was like when you see something, it's evidence that somebody made it.
Yeah.
Like if you see a building, it's not like, man, that building came out of nowhere. No, somebody built that, and the fact that creation is here means that there is a creator, and it got here somehow. And like appreciating like the beauty of and like slowing down and just like looking at it, like, man, that's a prime bottle. And just like slowing down and like appreciating
someone
like
had to create that
things.
microplastic in your drink.
Yeah, and
It's so good.
Yummy, 20 calories.
This one's fine. The energy one's the one that's the problem. Which
I don't know. I don't like Prime like that.
I mean, Audrey,
I don't know. It's like I had one and it wasn't all that.
which ones do you have?
It was like a sparkly one.
Sparkly
like-
one.
It came in a can. It came in a can.
Then it was the energy drink. That's the one that
Sparkly.
it's getting recalled in Canada.
oh wow. It was a
No,
few weeks ago.
they don't even sell it in Canada. That's the thing.
Oh my
And it's,
god.
people
don't even
buying
sell
it
it.
from the United States and they're like,
Yeah, like bringing it over. So, but like to what
it's
I was
like
saying.
cocaine, but Prime.
No,
What are you
that's
bringing
so
over the
good.
border, buddy? What do you got in that trunk? It's like a case of Prime. Like,
Jeez.
wow.
Yeah.
It's not even cool anymore to smuggle stuff. You know when like the news was actually news. Now you're smuggling.
There's that
Prime
episode
across the
Gravity
border.
Falls where Stan smuggles puppies.
That happens all the time.
Mhm.
That puppy mills.
Oh goodness.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
But yeah.
But yeah, appreciating the small things and like looking at like especially like after like the third shout, I got home and I was able to. That's really where I like
the third shower.
No, the
Shout.
shout.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I'm tired. Continue. The shout.
The shout.
The shout. What? Yeah, I got home and I went and I took a nap outside on a blanket. Just before that I was just looking around and like even like looking at like in the grass and seeing like everything that was even there. Like it's like so incredibly small, yet it still has meaning and is important to God, and He still provides for all the small things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like slowing down and realizing that brings me back into like my focus and knowing like about my where my foundation is at and having God with me.
Yeah. So good.
So,
So good.
yeah.
So good. God is so good.
Yeah, like what can the enemy really do when like, you know, like it's like you're in a storm and then you're like, well, just thank you, God, for like this breath in my lungs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
thank you for this, thank you for that. Like when you just keep acknowledging God and you keep like just bringing God into it, you know, and you show like, I don't know. Yeah.
It takes a whole new meaning to misery loves company.
Mhm.
Such goodness.
That's exactly what the enemy is doing. He's
The
like,
enemy is
the
down
enemy is
bad.
my man is down bad. He needs
enemy is
everyone
down
to be
bad.
with him.
You said thank you for like the breath in my lungs.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about how God like breathes into our lungs
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
morning at church. And for some reason I couldn't stop laughing because I was thinking like my own breath is so smelly in comparison.
Oh my
CPR.
like God, I need your breath because mine's smelling pretty bad. At
Oh
this
my
point. And that's all I could think about when he was saying that.
I could just imagine
I
like
love
he
it.
says
I
that
love
and
it.
you're just like throughout the service.
I was just like,
Like, throughout the whole service. Like just cackling too.
oh,
I feel like that's how Grace laughs. How do you laugh, Grace?
I don't know.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
A gentle laugh. A pretty laugh.
Yeah, it's not. It's Seth Rogen.
Oh no. Wait,
Donkey
yeah,
Kong.
wait. I listened to it. Wait. That's awful.
Well, that's how him and Will Hart laugh. Will Hart
Oh
laughs
my
like that
How do you laugh, Espe?
I don't know. I love laughing. I can laugh. It depends. It depends.
too. Dude, my sister makes fun
I
of
can
me.
laugh loud.
Wait,
But I can also do the like you're not making any noise laugh.
Make Espe laugh. I gotta hear real laugh.
It's not that hard.
I didn't even do anything, man. I'm a comedic genius.
Everyone be quiet, and then we go around. I want to hear all y'all's laughs. Okay, one, ready?
I'm
Wait,
gonna lose it.
So there, shh.
Wait, I gotta think so.
Quiet in 1 second. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Shh.
Hang on, I gotta think so.
It's hard.
Oh, you got a video?
Laughing is contagious. You know?
I don't know. Is that her type of humor? I feel like she like watches Dave Chappelle to laugh.
But I'm one of those that sympathizes. Like if I don't understand it, I'll still laugh.
Oh, so you have the sympathy laugh. Like, oh my gosh, you are so unfunny. I'm just gonna giggle.
Jeez.
Like that's funny to you, so I think it's funny.
Maybe you're just joyful. You found anything yet?
I'm gonna go to my watch later.
We need
I was on
the
my
world
memes
to hear
playlist.
this. On your news playlist.
No, on my meme songs. I didn't say memes. I didn't say news.
I'm gonna see if I can find something too. Yeah.
I would love that. I would love that.
I was let me find a video fast. Click one. Anything. Okay, show her. Flip the camera.
I feel like I've been laughing.
I know.
Yeah, she's literally been laughing the whole time. What are you talking about?
Well, no, we need to hear a full laugh.
I think that's. Oh my
America as a nation can be defined in a single word.
God.
I was going to put him.
Oh dear.
That was very unfunny.
America is a nation that can be defined in a very single word.
I think I've been laughing. So I
think we heard her laugh. I think we're good now.
I wasn't sure I was gonna make it through the podcast because you guys are really funny.
We are.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's my favorite sound. I love that sound. I'm gonna do that like when I get married. I'm gonna have that in my wedding.
Oh God.
Like
dear.
if someone's gonna do a speech.
That's me and Chris's job. We just like throw metal bars.
Oh, or if I was a DJ, I'd do that. Someone's like quinceañera, like the mom's like crying, like, oh my gosh, I love my daughter so much. And then like the pipe.
Oh dear.
I'm very unfunny.
It's true.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? Shut up. We have very similar sense of humor. I don't want to hear it. Anyways.
Shay makes fun of my laugh so much, and
No wonder.
it just gets me. And because I started doing this thing a few years ago, and it was like where I would laugh, and then at the end I would just go. Tss. It was like,
You just
Oh my gosh. At the end.
I would do like I would laugh, I would chuckle, and then it would just go to. Tss. She was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I didn't do anything. I
Is
just
that
laughed."
like when you
She
were
was like,
done laughing?
Yeah. When I finished laughing, and it was like, "Tss." She's like, "What is that? Why do you do that?" And it was like,
That's funny.
Let me see if I can make you laugh.
No.
Real quick. Come on, come here. Before we end
"Try not to laugh."
Before we close this, before we close this, just one more
Miniature
video.
episode. Try not to laugh. Here we go.
Let me see if I gotta find it in English though, bro.
Great.
Michaela might cut this out, but it's fine.
I don't know. Don't you have like copyright with videos and stuff?
Oh dear.
Come on. You said stuff. Wait. Oh no, they're not songs. It's okay. They're all.
The audios.
Well, I mean, reacting to videos is fine. You won't get copyrighted.
Okay, well, they're not gonna hear it. I'm gonna put
Better
it to
safe
his
than
ear.
sorry, I guess.
This has no audio. You don't know who that is.
Nope. I don't speak
Oh
Spanish.
dear.
Look. No, that's not funny. Okay, I'm gonna just send you stuff. Anyways. Thank you, Espe, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was quite terrific. I
So
really
fun.
enjoyed seeing you and talking with you and laughing with you and learning from you.
So fun.
It has been lovely. I love it.
Oh my God! No way!
That's not copyrighted. You can't copyright that.
Cut out so much.
What the hell? This is my favorite. Not the Lego
The
sound.
Lego death sound effect.
Wait, one more. I know we're gonna end this. Okay, one more. Wait, one more. You found it? Empanada. Have you seen that? I think I said that to Chris. No. Anyways, this has been lovely. Thank you, Esme. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Sawyer.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Sawyer. We're not playing it.
Oh dear.
Thanks for sharing all your encouragement.
Well, you're welcome.
I'm gonna close this out in prayer because we're on a tight schedule.
So good.
Stop. Pause for the Lord. All right.
First of all, your Jordans are fake.
All right.
Second of all, you have no Riz. What?
You really don't. Anyways, Jesus,
wasn't
thank you
talking
for
to you,
this
what?
day. Thank you for everything that you have given us. I'm just so thankful that we could record this episode today. And I pray that everything we shared, everything we said, and everything Espe said and shared with us today will hit the hearts of the people who it needs to be heard by. And that you will do with this episode what you will, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
First of all, your Jordans are completely
So this has been another episode of the Gen G podcast. Please follow us at Faith Like Birds on our Instagram, Facebook. I'm forgetting a bunch. TikTok, MySpace, YouTube.
Oh, Optimo Primo.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And just look us up on any other ones and see if we're there.
That works.
This has been great. Bye.